In my direct reactions, part of what I was saying towards the middle of that video was, I don't know why they made this a direct. They could have just done this on Twitter. They could have just showed off these random things online without having to hype us up for a big direct. And then we got Rhythm Heaven. And then we got Tomodachi Life 2. Not to mention the Pokemon formula is changing, and we got Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, brand new gameplay, brand new blowout information for that game. And I am here to tell you, the Nintendo Switch makes dreams come true. 10 years ago, we would never have been in this position. Never in a million years would a direct be ending off such an amazing console generation for games that are so niche yet people are so passionate about. Metroid Prime 4. We got Metroid Dread on this console. We got Mario Odyssey, the return to the sandbox format. We got a brand new 3D Zelda formula that resonated with tens of millions more people than it ever has before. We got Tomodachi Life 2, F-Zero 99. We, on the Nintendo Switch, got everything we could ever ask for, and it has made every single person's dream come true. Tomodachi Life and Rhythm Heaven are so niche and yet so beloved. So beloved. People love those games. They have been begging for sequels forever. We have been clamoring for these games, and people going into directs this entire Switch generation have been wanting these games. And they give them to us. They know we want them. They knew this wouldn't appeal to the masses, but they knew this would appeal to us, the hardcore fans who have been wanting these games forever. And then Miyamoto came on at the end, and he said, guess what? Nintendo today, you're going to get a brand new app. You're going to get a brand new virtual card. They gave us so much stuff, and today I just need to break all of it down for you, and I'm going to make other videos about this as well, but this is just a general overview of what happened in the Direct and what we need to take away from it. So starting off, we had Dragon Quest at the very beginning, then we had a bunch of games that I didn't know about, didn't really care about, then we had that weird Pac-Man game that's like a 2D side-scroller. It looks really, really cool. I honestly think I'm going to try and check it out if I have time, because it looks amazing. You have this little Pac-Man thing next to you, you eat people around you, and you like use that to transform into other things. It's really cool. I enjoy it a lot. I think it's a great idea. Such a weird use for the Pac-Man series, but hey, you gotta evolve sometime, right? Then the screen faded to black, and we got ourselves another look at Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and this was a little bit weird. It was extremely weird, and I think I'm going to make a whole video talking about this and a little bit of the other announcements and its implications for the Switch too, but it was just weird to see this game here, for them to give us like a blowout information of it, but not really a blowout. Like they gave us some new stuff, but it didn't feel like the final look, if you know what I mean. It just felt like more Metroid Prime 4. And then at the end, no release date, and that is so odd to me, and I think there's a reason behind that, but I will talk a little bit more about that in another video. So Metroid Prime 4 looks gorgeous, it looks amazing, it's going to be on the Switch, still confirmed for this year. When, we just don't know, and that was kind of a weird trend with the release dates. There were some great games shown, not a whole lot of new first-party stuff, but the new first-party stuff that was shown off either wasn't confirmed release dates or was confirmed for 2026, which is so interesting to me. So let's move on for now. Witchbrook was the next game that they showed off. It was really cool. I like the art style. I like the magic abilities. It looks really fun, to be honest. I think there was some voice acting in it. I could be wrong, but this looked amazing. Like, to be honest, this game was one of the surprise shockers for me. It was a brand new announcement, I believe. It looked like it was built from PC and put on the Switch as like a port, so maybe it's already on PC. I don't know, but it looks very interesting, so I'm excited to see people like this game. Then we had the creators of Cadence of Hyrule, the NecroDancer team, make a new Guitar Hero kind of game with all of these different indie developers collaborating in different IPs. I think there was Celeste, there was Pizza Tower. That looks really fun. Weirdly enough, we got ourselves another look at Pokemon ZA. Even after they had had a little bit of a presentation about it and talked about it, they gave us more in the Nintendo Direct, and we're just not really used to that. Pokemon has been so not in Nintendo Directs up till this point, so I don't know why they decided to do it here. I guess they just didn't have any other stuff that they wanted to show us, so they just wanted to remind us this game exists, and it still looks bad, and I still don't understand how people can defend it, but hey, Pokemon ZA, it'll sell a bajillion copies, and that is something. Okay, so then it went back to Takahashi, and then he did that little snap, it faded to black, and we got ourselves a brand new Rhythm Heaven game. It has been so long since we got a new Rhythm Heaven game, and let me tell you, I've never even played a Rhythm Heaven. but I know so many people have been begging for it. This is one of those niche games that people just have been wanting, and Nintendo had no reason at all to bring it back. They had no reason. They had no motivation. They didn't need to do this. They did this specifically for the fans. They did this because they knew we wanted it. And probably this won't be a success. It probably is a little bit of a side project for the people at Nintendo, but they went out of their way. They dedicated time to making this series come back to the Nintendo Switch. And oh my gosh, it was so funny because there were a bunch of rhythm games in this presentation, and there was one earlier that kind of made me think it was Rhythm Heaven at first, and I was like, oh, Rhythm Heaven, wouldn't that be funny? And then they actually announced it, and that is just, it's something. It is beautiful, and I cannot believe the Switch is just bringing everyone's dreams to reality. It is insanity. It looks really good. I hope it isn't a full $60. I hope they price it at $50 so that people will be at least more willing to buy it, shell out the money for it. I hope they show off a little bit more of it later on so we can see how in-depth it is, and they give it a real marketing cycle and a real chance to really grasp people. But this feels like a WarioWare type game where there is definitely an audience for it. They just have to market it well enough to where those people find it. So Rhythm Heaven Groove is coming out in 2026, and that is so weird to me, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. So then I'm completely and totally shocked, right? We got Takahashi came back, and we had Metroid Prime 4, but no new announcements prior, so I was kind of like, oh, it could be a Twitter Direct. Takahashi comes, he's like, hey, Rhythm Heaven. I'm like, shoot, that's crazy. We're about to go back to the highlights. Then he says, oh no, I want you to hear a little bit more about how backwards compatibility and how game transfers are going to work. And then they introduced this very new, very weird concept of virtual game cards. Nintendo likes to do things differently than everybody else. If they have some sort of idea for a new console or just anything, they want to do it in their own way. And so my first thought was, I wonder if this is how they are going to address the idea of preserving games. If they were going to give us some sort of physical thing for virtual games, for digital games, because people are so concerned about physical media and just do we even own our games anymore, all of that stuff. But this ended up just being a little bit more information about backwards compatibility, and I'm sure they will go more in-depth on this about the Switch 2 later, because they did everything in their power to not mention the Switch 2 during this portion. Like, they said it for a second, but we all knew this is the reason that they created this. And it's really cool because they decided not just to do this for the Switch 2, but to do it for all of the other consoles. So if you have a family plan, or if you have a friend with a Switch, you can like literally buy a game yourself and then lend them that game. It will be sent, the digital version of that game will be sent over to their console, and they can play it for up to 14 days, which is a weird marker. I wonder if they'll let you change that, if you can do it longer or if you have to do it shorter. I mean, I guess it makes sense they want it back on your original console, especially if the person like is trying to steal it from you. I don't know. It's a weird limitation, a weird Nintendo restriction that is interesting enough, but I cannot believe that they have done this because honestly, backwards compatibility was a big thing, but I just thought you'd be able to transfer your games over, right? And that you would just be able to play it on both consoles. So I wonder, are we allowed to play Mario Wonder, for example, on our Nintendo Switch 1, and then also have our Switch 2, right? And what if I'm playing my Switch 2, and then, you know, my dog or whatever is playing my Switch 1 because he became sentient because of this Direct. So what if my dog is playing my Switch 1, and I'm playing the Switch 2, and we both want to play Mario Wonder? I guess they won't let you. I don't know, but it feels weird, right? I probably think that's how it's going to work, to where you can only play one at a time, and then when you give out multiple games to other people, they can only play those games. So if you gave it to them, then unless they're just done with it and they send it back to you, you just don't get access to that game until they're done. Which I suppose makes sense. If you only bought one copy of the game, it makes sense you can't play it on two different consoles. But it's a very interesting concept, a very Nintendo concept. And I'm glad that they did it because it shows us a little glimpse of what it's going to look like for the Switch 2, how that's going to work. And a lot of people are probably going to trade in their Switches to help buy the Switch 2, which makes me wonder what they're going to do with all those digital games. I mean, it's going to be hard to do that in the store, especially if you have a lot of games, but it's literally their job to have figured this out and to have thought in advance, so I'm sure it will be at least decent, and I am excited that they announced it here. They showed off 2 Monument Valley games, and I was really confused because I still don't know if these are brand new games that they are just releasing 2 at a time, which doesn't seem likely. I think they're probably just ports. Then we got everybody's golf, Hotshot, and I really thought this was just some crappy game that some weird third-party developer was making, but apparently this is some sort of Sony IP, and people are actually really excited about this. Now, I'm not going to change my opinion just because this is something people care about. This game looks really bad, and I don't know if the gameplay is fun. I hope it is. I hope the people who love it will continue to enjoy it, but graphically speaking, it looks bad. It just looks really, really bad. So I'm not trying to down people for this. I hope you enjoy it if you played this series before, and I hope this is a big thing for you. But this is just another game that it seems to me Nintendo is just bringing back at the little bit of end here with the Mario and Luigi Brothers Ship series coming back. We have all these other things, so many niche games in this last couple years of the Switch's life that Nintendo is putting out and making people's dreams come true. And speaking of making people's dreams come true, Takahashi came back. He laid out his palm and he said, take another look at our last announcement. We saw palm trees. It made me think it was Animal Crossing, which was really weird. And then we got a weird fart. And then Tomodachi Life 2. The second I saw those Miis, the second I saw them, I knew what was up. And it was interesting because when they were doing the virtual card thing earlier, they had the Mii kind of like showing off in the corner what was going on. And I thought, that's weird that I even said it in my reactions video. You should go watch that. But I was like, I think that's weird that they're talking about Miis because they had kind of abandoned the idea of Miis, especially for the Switch sports game, and they made those avatars and all that. But now, Tomodachi Life, and it's so ironically named Living the Dream because the Switch makes dreams come true, especially with this Direct. It's another 2026 release, and honestly, a couple different spots that they showed made it look really rough, and this game definitely is not the type of game that should not look good, so I think they just need a little bit more development time, and that is fine with me. I just want this game to look really good. And then the dream theme is kind of interesting because it's called Living Dreams, right? And then on the little part there where they showed off the big girl running up, it was just a dream. So they're going to make some weird aspect about it, but I hope and pray this game is really good. I hope it iterates off the first version, but doesn't take away too much from it because people love this game. I love Tomodachi Life. I cannot wait to play this game, and I obviously hope it's on the Switch 2. It's very weird to me that they're putting it on the Switch 1, so hopefully there's a version for that on Switch 2, especially for 2026. Rhythm Heaven and Tomodachi Life both deserve a chance to actually sell well, and I don't think that they will sell well if they only release on the Switch literally a year after the Switch 2 has launched. It's like Samus Returns all over again on the 3DS, like that Luigi's Mansion 1 port on the 3DS all over again. Like, I know they don't want to let go of the Switch 1. I know they don't want to abandon those people, and this is great. Put it on that console, please. But also, just make a Switch 2 version. Hype up that version more so than the Switch 1 one, because I just really want these games to sell well. I want people to care about them, and I'm sure it'll be great. People will make all kinds of YouTube videos, especially about Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. I am so excited for this game. And that wasn't even it, and I almost had a heart attack when he tried to say Miyamoto was coming on. I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? What's the next announcement, right? And he said, hey, Miyamoto is coming on, and then Miyamoto paid a little bit of homage to the Direct format, how Directs have evolved over the years. He showed us, like, just, man, these things have really turned into an event, haven't they? He just seems like such a proud dad. And it's so interesting because I have already made my Switch 2 predictions for the Direct that's coming up next week, and that will release later on in the next couple of days, so look out for that. But in that video, I predicted that the Direct format would be overhauled, and his homage to the Directs and like him talking about it makes me think like even more this is an end of an era for Nintendo Directs, and that they're going to just have a different way of explaining what those are and like giving us announcements. But anyways, Miyamoto, the father of Nintendo basically, came out and said, Nintendo Today. There is an app that will come out later on today if you are watching this video on March 27th that will give us news. And he said that every single day after the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation, there will be new news on this app. So I'm going to have to be checking this thing every day. There might even be like big bombshell announcements that they decide not to give us in the Direct, but that they decide to give us on this app. But he said that this was like a way of focusing on just giving us communication between the company and us, giving us direct information, and it just continues to show that they really want to expand Nintendo into the rest of the world, not just games. They've been making a big push lately with all of the Nintendo Alarmos stuff, the Nintendo Music app, the Nintendo Today app now. They really just want us to be thinking more about their company in everyday life. They want to improve our life. They want us to have smiles on our faces because they do stuff for us that other companies don't even care about doing. And that is just why Nintendo is so special, and I am so excited to have this app and to have other apps and for the future of Nintendo, these movies that they're going to make, the shows they're going to make, whatever comes out of Nintendo Pictures, everything that they're trying to do literally is built upon them wanting to make our days better and brighter. Nintendo has made our dreams literally come true with this Direct, and I cannot wait to see what happens on the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct on April 2nd. We are mere days away, friends. Now, I understand if a lot of people are watching this and they don't understand my hype, they don't understand where I'm coming from here, but this Direct was never going to be huge, right? I came in with low expectations. I honestly came in with higher expectations than what we got. I thought we were going to get Silksong. I thought we were going to get new IPs, or new first-party games at least. I thought we were going to get some remakes, remasters, and we really only got Rhythm Heaven and Tomodachi Life as in terms of new first-party announcements. But the Switch 2 Direct is literally days away, friends, and I knew this was just going to be an appetizer to that entree. And it's crazy that we even got a Direct at all, and to be honest, this was a better send-off than the June Direct was, even though the June Direct had amazing games, and we were all like, man, this is the perfect send-off because it's a big Direct. It encapsulates how people love Nintendo and love crazy announcements. But this truly cemented it as the final Direct for me in my mind. This Direct was special because it truly made dreams come true. It reminded us of what this generation was. Nintendo is here for the little guy. They're here for the little guy. They are making games, looking out for us. The niche franchises that they so adore have been made specifically for those people now. And that is just amazing. So thank you, Miyamoto, Takahashi, all these people at Nintendo. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. I will be making another video here soon, breaking down my thoughts a little bit more on the Metroid Prime 4 thing, the 2026 release days, all of that Switch 2 information that I think is important from this Direct. Make sure you leave down in the comments all of your thoughts and opinions on this Direct, what you're looking forward to most for the Switch 2 Direct next week, and your thoughts on this video in general. Thank you once again. My name is Ray. This has been Ray's Nintendo Talk, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a phenomenal day.